My phone rang while I was standing by our bed, packing the rest of my shirts into the luggage. It was Sabrina. She wasn't here. Odd. She contacted me frequently, usually to remind me of something or to give brief updates about our son, Jason. But this time, there was an unaccustomed urgency, a tremor in her voice. I straightened up automatically. "Honey, Jason is in the vacation, the neatly packed garments." My heart stopped. "He needs you in the hospital." My voice came, out harder than I intended. Her breathing was shaky. Her itinerary no longer mattered. "He's been feeling ill all day." "I thought it was just a fever, but it got worse," she said, attempting to hold back tears. "It got so bad I had to take him to the hospital right away. He collapsed." Jason, just 6 years old. My entire world. The thought of him, so small, so defenseless in a hospital bed, made my stomach churn. "I'm coming," I said without thinking. I didn't even finish packing. The long-awaited family vacation could wait. Jason needed to be okay. That was the only thing that mattered. I shoved the luggage aside, zipped it shut, and rushed out of the room, my hands shaking. As I grabbed my car keys, my mind raced. How had I missed the warning signs? No, he wasn't sick this morning. He was rushing around the living room, laughing, showing me the small paper boat he had made for the trip. Was he okay? Had I been too preoccupied with work and trip planning to notice? Guilt gnawed at me as I weaved through traffic, my knuckles scraping against the steering wheel. By the time I reached the hospital, my heart was pounding. I rushed inside, barely able to form words. "My son, Jason, last name. I need to see the nurse who brought him in earlier." The receptionist scowled as she typed, each keystroke agonizingly slow. Then she frowned. "I don't see a Jason under that name listed today." I froze. "My wife just called me," I insisted. "There has to be a mistake." She checked again. "Sir, I'm sorry. There's no record of your son being here." That didn't make sense. Sabrina said she had rushed him here, crying. Where was he? Maybe she took him to another hospital. I pulled out my phone and dialed her. It rang twice, then straight to voicemail. I called again, voicemail. Then a notification, a photo. I tapped it open, and my stomach dropped. A cruise ship. Laughter. Sabrina. She stood on deck, dark hair glistening in the sun, sunglasses pushed back on her nose, drink in her hand. Jason, by her side, her family, her parents, her sister, and Kellen, his arm draped around her waist. I stared, the caption blinking at me like a slap in the face. "The most amazing vacation ever." Jason wasn't sick. He wasn't in the hospital, and my heart was pounding so hard I thought I would faint. Sabrina had lied, tricked me, gone to unspeakable lengths to ensure I stayed behind. My fingers tightened. Around my phone, trembling with rage. She never wanted me on that trip. And Kellen, I had put up with him for too long. He was just a friend. She always muttered, "Don't be silly." But there he was, his arm around her waist, toasting with his drink. And she was smiling, bright, happy, not crying, not worried about Jason, not even remotely concerned about the frantic, heartbroken man. She had just deceived. She had planned this. From the moment she booked the trip, it wasn't last minute, it wasn't a misunderstanding, it was premeditated. My phone buzzed again, another message from her cousin, Jeremy. "The water is crazy. You'd have loved it, man. Wish you were here." Attached were more pictures. Sabrina, Kellen, close. Touching, his hand resting on her thigh. She wasn't pulling away. My breath hitched. Jeremy messaged Kellen. "Dude, you really delivered on the room upgrade. Wait, it's his suite now, LOL. Sweetheart, I had been erased, not just from the vacation, from her life. How long had this been happening? How long had I been a blind fool? I gripped the steering wheel, breathing heavily. No. Emotions wouldn't fix this. I needed to be smart. I needed to know everything. So instead of going home, I drove straight to my in-laws' house. If anyone knew the truth, it was them. And if they thought they could brush me off, they were dead wrong. I knocked, loud, demanding. Sabrina's mother answered. Her face went white. "Oh, you're supposed to be—" She stopped herself. Guilt flashed in her eyes. I stepped forward. Sitting at home? Waiting for my wife to return? Pretending this never happened? She swallowed. "I told her not to do it," she whispered. My heart pounded. "Do what?" My voice was ice. She looked away. We all knew she planned this for months, but we didn't think she'd actually go through with it. Months. She had planned this for months. The realization burned through me. I clenched my fists. She had drained our bank account, lied, cheated, stolen, and assumed I would just accept it. She made one deadly miscalculation. She didn't know what my next move would be. I sat in my car, cold fury settling in my bones. My phone buzzed. Marcus. My best friend, the only one I could trust, I answered. "She lied to me," I said, my voice low and lethal. "Aren't you supposed to be on a—" "She took Jason. She went with Kellen, and she left me behind." A beat of silence, then a sharp breath. "All right, stay calm. Tell me everything, Marcus. New people, lawyers, investigators, and if anyone could dig up the truth, it was him." "Give me an hour," he said, his voice like steel. "I'll call you back." I hung up and stared at the framed photo of Jason on the living room wall, his wide, toothy grin, his innocence. He didn't know what his mother had done, didn't know the world was about to change forever. Took a deep breath. This wasn't about me, it was about him. I refused to let Sabrina's selfishness ruin my son's life. I opened my laptop, logged into our bank account, scrolled through the transactions. And then, my stomach dropped. For months, Sabrina had been making withdrawals, thousands, and transferring it to a separate account, one I had never seen before. She wasn't just planning a vacation, she was planning something bigger. My phone buzzed again. "Marcus," his voice was grim. "You're gonna want to sit down for this," I exhaled sharply. "Just tell me." "She's been planning this trip for a long time," he said. "But the vacation? That's just the beginning." My grip tightened. "What do you mean?" Marcus hesitated. Then, "I spoke to a lawyer and—" "You're not gonna like this. She's been gathering evidence to file for full custody, and she's making it look like you're the problem." That conveyed the impression that she was the primary caregiver, preparing to separate Jason from you. I stood there, stopped, processing the words. No way. She wouldn't. But would she? She had stolen from me before, gone on trips with him, and lied about our son being ill just to control me. Why wouldn't she try to take my son from another man right under my nose? My heart pounded in my ears with white-hot rage. I questioned, my voice dangerously low at 100%. "Are you sure about this?" She had discovered certain documents and was currently attempting to establish a relationship with a lawyer before filing a slow, bitter lawsuit. She thought she was so smart. That thought made me chuckle. How much did she know that I knew? I probably hadn't asked anything yet, relying on her ignorance. I gritted my teeth tightly, giving her the impression that I must be unaware. I mumbled, already forming a strategy in my mind. "Act before she does. What are you considering?" She had stolen enough from me. First, I was locking our accounts. Then, I needed a very good lawyer. "I'll get you the best one. She won't take Jason." Third, I spoke in a steely voice, as Marcus had promised. "And when she returns, I'm going to disprove all of her lies." I hung up and within minutes had her credit cards canceled and all joint accounts frozen. She was now cut off from every financial resource. If she wanted money, she'd have to find it elsewhere. Then, I called a number I never imagined I'd need. "Hello?" A clear female voice answered. "Yes, this is Michelle. How can I assist you?" I responded. "I need a divorce attorney, and I need to make sure my wife never silences my son. Then, we can talk." I hung up and let out a deep breath. Sabrina. Believed she was 10 steps ahead of me. She had no idea. My heart was still pounding. I was going to take everything from her. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was war.